This is a video that I've been meaning to do for some time because I think it's very important for a lot of people that are getting into photography. I think that one of the things that we forget sometimes is that a lot of things take time. And one of those is if you want to be a wedding photographer, or if you want to be a fashion photographer or anything like that, it's going to take a while, and more likely than not, you're going to have to pay your dues as you go along. I think that honestly, I think that it actually makes when you get there even more rewarding. Really briefly, I remember sitting in my studio a few days ago and thinking that there was a time where I didn't have this and that I wanted this. And now that I have it, I appreciate it a hell of a lot more than if it was just like I walked into a studio and somebody said, here are the keys and enjoy. So in any case, the reason I prefaced it with that is that today I wanted to go over tips on being a great assistant. Understand that if you're going to be shooting for anybody, more likely than not, they're going to have you assisting before you're shooting. Even if you're a tremendous photographer, there are still some things that we want to see in a person's character that shooting isn't really going to show us. So one thing that I preach more than anything, I think, is that attitude is everything. And I mean this for photography. I mean it for if you're a trash man, if you're an accountant, if you're anything, whatever you're doing, attitude is everything. And the reason for that is that your clients can pick up on that energy. Your clients will know whether you really want to be doing this or you're doing this because you have nothing else to do or you couldn't think of anything else to do. So if you're going to be assisting, make sure that, okay, I'm doing this because I have a goal, because eventually I want to be shooting, or I just like assisting because it's fun and I want to learn how it's done properly. So when I go on vacation with my family, I have some tips of how I can shoot our family photos a little bit better. So having the right attitude doesn't just mean showing up and pretending to be, it's really actually being happy to be there. I think that anybody that we've ever shot for can see that the shooter loves what they're doing, the assistant is happy to be there, and that energy, everybody can feel that. So having the right attitude is going to trump anything you know about photography. If you're the most talented person but you're not a team player, it's going to be a little bit harder to bring that person on the following week. Said, why not bring the person who is still learning, is eager to learn, but their attitude is much better? I think it's very clear what I'm saying. Another tip is you can learn on the job, which is tremendous because not only are you being paid to be there, but you're also learning on what the photographer is looking for. So for example, when somebody comes and assists for us, it's not that we know everything, it's just that this is the way that we do things. So when you're assisting, you're paying attention to where the second shooter is, where the lead shooter is, and then when you're going to be second shooting, you're going to remember, because when you're assisting, it's a little bit less pressure, so you can pay attention to where Ryan or Andrew or whoever is, so that way you know, okay, during this time of the day, I'm supposed to be over here. Because when I was assisting Elmer, for example, he was shooting the family and Andrew had already taken off to do the details. You're gonna know these procedures before you even get out there and shoot. So being an assistant is a great time to learn not only these things, but also, do I really want to do photography? Because maybe you're assisting and you think it's going to be this expectation and you're going to think that this is what it's like, and then in reality it's actually a lot more work than what you expected, and maybe you don't want to do it, which is totally fine. I mean, I think that that's basically, being an assistant is like being undecided in college. You're figuring out what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and where you really want to go with it. I hope that makes sense. And going off of learning on the job, it's also a matter of learning the expectations of, you know, be honest when you're working. If you drop a lens, if you break a flash, whatever the case may be, it's not the end of the world. I mean, that's the reason that we carry backups for everything. So if that happens, let your lead photographer know, let your second photographer know, so that way next week when we're taking it out of our bags, we're not going, why is this all jammed up? Like, let us know so we can take care of this, so that way we're not struggling on the next job. I think that's pretty much common sense, but you know, it's just something that I always like mentioning is we're not going to jump on you for breaking something. Shit happens. We drop things all the time. The stuff has fallen into the ocean. It's fallen in the desert. It's fallen on cement. It is what it is. I mean, after over a decade of doing things are going to break, but it's just a matter of being honest, so that way we can move forward and we have the equipment that we need on the next job. Another very important thing that is paramount when you're an assistant, or even when you're not an assistant, let's say even if you're already been shooting for a few years and then you start up with a new team or a new group and they say, hey, can you assist on this job? I remember having an interview once, this was years ago, and I didn't even realize until halfway through that it was an interview. Like, this person hit me up and they said they wanted to shoot and learn from me and all that, and I was like, all right, cool. And I said to this person, before we go out and shoot and have you shooting for us, we will need you to assist just so you can see what we do and how we do things and the procedures that we have in place. And I could see immediately, as soon as I said that you're gonna have to assist, their face just turned. And as soon as their face turned, I just thought in my head, I'm like, well, we're done here. Because if you're not willing to be a team player in the beginning, how the hell am I gonna expect you to be a team player, you know, a year or 2 years from now? So that initial lack of team mentality just completely threw me off. There was another time I remember I was second shooting for this other studio. This was years ago, and they brought a new person that was assisting. And I remember speaking with him, and he just seemed a little annoyed throughout the day. And eventually it basically came out, and he said, I don't know why I'm assisting. I'm a second shooter. And like basically what he was saying is that he was above this. And I mean, he picked the wrong person to say that to, because as soon as he said it to me, I just looked at him like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? Like, if you were that good, you'd be second shooting. If you were that good, you'd be doing what I'm doing right now. And that's not to say that I was better than him. Hell, he may be a better photographer or whatever. But if you were that good, you would be second shooting and somebody else would be assisting. Not only that, maybe they're trying you out to see what kind of team player you are. So don't come at me with this nonsense and grab the light. We got work to do. I knew I lost him then. He was not friends with me after that. But I mean, on top of that, the owner asked me a question that Monday, and he said, hey, how did he do? Did you guys have any issues? And I remember on that job, instead of focusing on this guy's being an asshole, I remember helping the lead photographer with lights, with carrying bags, with doing his goddamn job, because he didn't want to do it. So I was honest with the owner, and I said, yeah, I wouldn't hire him. If he was auditioning to work for us, there's no way in hell I would bring this person on board, because they think they're too big for their britches, even though they've never put in they haven't paid their dues yet. So, I mean, like little things like that. I know that as you guys are listening to this, you're going, duh, like that's obvious. Why would you act that way? But you never know what kind of people you're gonna run into. And the beautiful thing with assisting from our perspective is we get to see that before we put you in a high stakes situation where you're second shooting. So being an assistant is great for everybody. Everybody gets to feel out in a very low risk situation. Usually we're pretty good at, and I've said this before, we hire based off of personality. So if I can tell someone's a cool person, we'll hire you. So that's really what it comes down to. We don't need to really look at your portfolio. We'll figure that part out. But if you're a good person, then you're hired. Timeliness is also a very important thing. 90% of my life, when it's not a job, I'm late to everything. Because the way that I look at it, if somebody comes late to me, I don't give a damn. Like, I got work to do. So be 10 minutes late, be 15 minutes late. I don't give a shit. But if it's a job, I will be there half an hour early, an hour early. Yesterday, we were waiting around, I think, for like 45 minutes. And we were just waiting, because you know what? I'd rather be there waiting, relaxed, than be rushing to get to the job and then be all stressed out. So if you're an assistant, one rule that we have here is half an hour before the job starts, you have to be there. If you're there 20 minutes before the job starts, you're already late. So that's just the way that we do things. I mean, it's a wedding, like it's one day out of the week. I think you can carve out an extra 30 minutes to get there a little early. Not only that, it shows for the future, if you're gonna be second shooting or lead shooting, are you really gonna be on time? If somebody's an assistant and they're late 5 out of 5 times, why the hell would we give them more responsibility when they can't even handle that little bit of responsibility? So by you showing us that you show up on time, there we go. We'll expedite you and put you on to second shoot as quickly as we possibly can, as long as your skill level is there as well. So timeliness, very important when it's on a job. This goes off of something I kind of mentioned earlier, is be a team player. So whether the photo, video, whatever, like help out whoever needs help, as long as the lead photographer, that is your priority, obviously, because that's who you're there to help the most. But if I'm shooting with natural light and I'm just shooting whatever, I don't need anything, and the second photographer is setting up some lights to do an off-camera light shot with the groomsmen and stuff like that, go help them out. Just be like, hey dude, can I go help Andrew? Do you know how that type of attitude is gonna shape all of us? When we go back, we're gonna talk about, dude, like he was really helpful. Like the second shooter will be telling me how helpful he was. I'll be saying what a good attitude they had. It doesn't hurt to help other people, basically. Even if if I'm setting up my flash and I don't really need any help, and you see that the florist is struggling to open the door, get over there and help them out. Just be a decent human being, be a team player to everybody, because you never know what connections you end up making. There was a person that, a videographer that I worked with, I think like 2 years ago, Eric, if you're watching. I remember we got along really well. Like if they needed help or whatever, I'd help them out. I'd step out of their way if they needed to get a shot, stuff like that. And because of that connection, we ended up, like, some of our guys shoot with him all the time. It doesn't take much to just lend somebody a hand. And don't do it with the mentality of, I hope this person gives me something back. Just do it because it's a decent thing to do. If I'm struggling to open the door because I'm carrying a case and I'm carrying a bag and I'm carrying a camera, if somebody opens the door for me, it's gonna shape my view of them and that team as a whole in a very positive way. So if you're an assistant, just look around. Where can I help? Whether it's TNK, the team, or this videography team, or anybody that needs anything. That's what we're there. We're there to help the entire day move smoothly. It's not just about us. I hope these tips help. I know that there's several people that have contacted me on Instagram and said, I want to learn from you guys and I want to see if I can come and intern with you guys. Here's a little side note. We don't take interns. I do not believe in free labor. I think that it's bullshit when people do that. But I just don't think that if you're giving me the most important thing that you have, which is your time, I'm not gonna not pay you, because I feel like if you're giving me that and I feel like you're giving me value, you should be compensated for your time. And if I feel like your time is not worth money, then why would I hire you to begin with? I just don't believe in free labor. So if you ever shoot for us, edit for us, assist for us, anything at all that you do for us, you will be paid. I do not believe in internships, but I will gladly teach you for free. If you need any help, as long as I have time, I'll always answer any messages that you guys send. That was kind of a rant that I just went off on. So I'm gonna end it here. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, leave a comment below. I'll try to post a little bit more consistently. I can't promise, but I'll try. And if you want to reach out to us, probably Instagram DM is probably the best avenue, just because I can do voice memos and respond a lot quicker. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.